people are specifically taught to never marry outside of their race, but specifically not to date black folk, and that's really racist and needs to stop. We Asian Americans have weaponized our proximity to whiteness in order to murder black people. George Floyd and Latasha Harlins should be here today, but they aren't because of our individual actions and our collective inaction. We can't just blame white people for pitting us against each other either, because the fact of the matter is that Asian cultures have a huge colorism problem and a huge problem with black people.
Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well, and if you're new here, welcome to our channel. My name is Maren
and I'm Maureen.
Right, so guys, we came across a very interesting channel of an Asian American lady called Shailene. I hope I pronounced her name correctly, but in any case, I'm going to leave her channel on our screen so that you can follow her channel.
Yeah, for those of you who are interested in seeing the video you're about to play you to full length, because we can't play the whole of it because of copyright issues.
Yeah, but basically today we are going to be reacting to a video of where she was talking about how Asian Americans benefit from white proximity and why they do everything they do to try and keep black people down so that they can continue benefiting from this system. And I feel like we need to applaud such people because she was calling out her people and she was just rebuking the spirit of them uplifting the white supremacy in their community.
Yeah, and I felt like she had a quite interesting perspective between the two different cultures, that is the Asian American and the Black American. And from how she's talking, I can tell that she has taken time to study and understand the black culture and also study and understand why Asians behave the way they do to Black Americans.
Yeah, another thing we have to take note of is she's going to be calling out the Asian community, not only in America but also back home, because according to her, of which we've seen this happen, Maureen, she rebukes them for always stealing black culture in order to benefit from it,
or in order for them to seem cool and monetize the culture but not appreciate where the culture is coming from.
Yeah, but guys, we don't want to talk a lot. Let's dive into this video and then we come back and talk about it. Consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Also, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. Let's watch.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today is part 2 of my 3-part series about unpacking anti-blackness in the United States. And if you're new to my channel, last week I posted part 1 of this series. Part 1 is a basic one-on-one conversation about how white supremacy operates in the US in order to maintain black people as second-class citizens. The next video in the series, which will come out next week, will be about Gone with the Wind. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when I post new videos. But today is part 2, and today we're going to be talking about anti-blackness in the Asian American community.
Sorry, it's always really awkward talking to you guys after being gone for a while. Almost as awkward as my dad around my black friends. Hey Dad. Hey Mr. Wolf. Is it cool if my friends stay over?
Of course. And where's my gun at? At least you have the gun.
And don't worry, my dad has nothing against black people. He's just a little uncomfortable around you guys.
I post a lot on my channel about racism that Asian people face, but today I want to talk about the racism that Asian people take part in and perpetuate. Though I was adopted into a white family and grew up in a very white world, doesn't mean that I haven't seen anti-blackness at play. Quite to the contrary, actually. When I was younger, I was very invested in becoming Asian American. I took traditional Chinese dance classes with both Chinese American students and Chinese American adoptees. I was friends with a lot of Korean American kids who were mainly children of recent immigrants, and after I graduated high school, I took part in a few Asian American clubs at my college. And even though I'm still seen as whitewashed by the community due to the fact that I grew up white, I am still Asian, and not enough of us are speaking out in support of Black Lives Matter. And I think that's for a few reasons, which I'll get into at the end of this video. But first I want to talk about how Asian Americans benefit from white supremacy and use our proximity to whiteness in order to subjugate Black people. And I've decided to structure this part of the video in a numbered list with 5 main points. So let's get started. So number 1, conditional whiteness. Asian Americans have benefited from white supremacy. Though Asian Americans face their own set of racist stereotypes and have their own racist history in this country, our model minority status given to us by white people is somewhat of a privilege. It means we don't get racially profiled by the police and that we can walk freely without someone calling the cops on us. For the most part, we're seen as non-threatening. However, as seen with COVID, our privilege is conditional. I said this in my COVID video, but there are so many Asian American people who for the first time were saying America is so racist and racism against Asian people in the US has been reawoken. Like, I don't think it was ever asleep. But that just goes to show how much white people have made us feel comfortable at the expense of Black people. White people only treat Asian Americans better than Black people, so we don't realize that they're full human beings. So that white people can create this culture war between us, so we Asian Americans don't empathize with their plight. And if you're an Asian American person who sees Black people as thugs, congratulations. You've successfully been turned into Uncle Sam's puppet. So Asian America, here is your wake-up call. Stop trying to claim whiteness and stand with Black Lives Matter. So fuck Tou Thao, the Hmong immigrant who stood by and watched and let George Floyd be murdered. And do not stand in solidarity with him or any other Asian American right-wing pundit. I'm looking at you, Lauren Chen and Joey Gibson. So number 2, let's talk about colorism. Again, half Black Asian kids have it really tough. They're similar to adoptees in a way in that they are never fully accepted by either community that raised them.
ちょっと簡単に教えてもらえますか？
アメリカと日本のハーフで、国籍はでも日本で、生まれてからずっと日本の学校。
なんか英語が上手だって思い込んで英語で話しかけてきたりとかしますか？
話しかけられることはそんなにないけど、話しかけたらノーイングリッシュとか言われたり。
マイカちゃんがどこの出身だっていうふうに思うことが多いですか？
アメリカかアフリカ。なんか普通に学校でマイカってアメリカ出身なのって言われて、全然ここら辺だよって地元だよ。
However, they're specifically not welcome into the Asian community for being Black. Kevin Wu, who used to be a very famous YouTuber, used to make skits with his dad and make jokes about how Asian American parents see Black people as criminals just for being Black. Asian people are specifically taught to never marry outside of their race, but specifically not to date Black folk, and that's really racist and needs to stop. So number 3, anti-blackness and appropriation in the Asian American community. A few very well-known Asian American celebrities have gotten famous for using AAVE and popularizing this narrative that they come from the hood and that they're not like other Asians. Constance Wu, who played Jessica Huang on Fresh Off the Boat, was written to speak in AAVE and say things like, hell no. And not a single person on set, specifically an Asian person on set, thought that this could be racist. Awkwafina, who has been very quiet since the BLM protests started, has created this narrative for herself that she grew up on the streets and is ghetto and uses AAV so much that it's downright uncomfortable.
You're right. Damn straight, I'm right. Stay clean, I'm always right. But you can't swerve. I'm not gonna swerve, not for her. You're not a chicken. You gonna roll up to that way and you gonna be like, fuck my bitch.
Eddie Huang also claims street cred, uses AAV, and heavily identifies with Black culture even though he's not Black. And lastly, the Jabberwockies, who are primarily made up of Asian members, won America's Best Dance Crew for their hip-hop routines. They have one black member, but they market themselves primarily as an Asian American group working to break the model minority stereotype. So why do Asian Americans feel this need to appropriate black culture? I think it boils down to two main reasons. One, Asian kids use black culture as a way of acting out. To many Asian parents, the worst thing that they could possibly be perceived as is black, aka the bad minority group. Asian Americans are very invested in staying under the radar, being the good minority, and that basically means just being as white as possible. And this can be a very oppressive environment for some kids, so they choose black culture as a way to act out because it'll make their parents the most angry, and it'll also help them shed the quiet and demure Asian stereotype. And let it be known that these stereotypes that some Asian people are so invested in breaking were created by white people. Just like how the stereotype that all black people are loud doesn't exist in any way, shape, or form. So Eddie Wong and Aquafina, you are wasting your time. So the second reason why Asian American people love to appropriate black culture is because they want to do what's cool. And like white people, to them, black culture is the definition of cool. And yeah, black culture is awesome, but it's not for you or for us, especially when the creators of black cultural products are mainstreamed to be for everyone. And even worse is that the black creators of these products and trends are never given their check and proper dues.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about that episode on the comment section, yeah? So, this lady mentioned a lot of things that she observed, and I feel like there are very good points that she spoke on. Like, for example, the anti-blackness in Asian communities, being that she was raised by white parents, but nevertheless she was
mingled with the Asian students, Asian friends.
Yeah, in America. And she says a lot of the things she observed were these Asian kids being taught by their Asian parents how to discriminate black people and how to never mingle with black people. Yeah.
At this point, I can say for those who still practice this, backward mentality thinking, it's their loss seriously, Yeah, because like with or without them, I feel like black people usually can survive a lot better on their own. And most of the time, they really set a lot of trends that go on in the world in terms of culture.
Yeah, and another thing we have to mention is how comfortable Asians live on the expense of black people in America. And this in turn leads to black people being treated as second-class citizens, And this lady here,
I feel like, and most of them continue to practice this unfair behavior against black people with the mindset of, so long as it's not us, it's them, we'll help the white supremacists execute
their system.
Yeah. And another thing she mentioned that I felt it was worth bringing up and quite insulting was when she said some Asian communities, the kids in those families, they emulate black culture as an insult, as a way of rebelling, because that is the worst thing. As per what she was saying, that is the worst thing Asian parents can take from their kids.
So imagine somebody disrespecting your culture to a point where for them to rebel against their oppressive moms or oppressive families, they practice what their mothers hate the most, and that is the black culture, And she gave another reason for Asians appropriating culture, being that they wanted to look cool or seem cool. And guys, I've seen a lot of trends on TikTok where black creators or performers come up with something or music or something of the the sort, and it's being appropriated in Asian.
Even
They
in
don't even
K-dramas.
Yeah, nowadays we see Asian
K-pop.
Exactly. Nowadays we see Asians doing locks. There's a lot of them who do locks because they are cool and they want to look stylish,
Which is not bad if you respect where the culture is coming from
and acknowledge
Yeah,
it.
but for those who disrespect this kind of culture, that hairstyle is somebody's lifestyle here in Africa or in America or in the Caribbean. You know, that is literally someone's hair you're wearing as a symbol of rebellion.
Yeah, and I feel like the moment Asians realize about their privilege being conditional, she talked about what happened during
the period
lockdown.
between 2020, the lockdown that is.
Yeah, and she mentioned how Chinese were being treated in America, and that is when they realized that they weren't special.
Yeah, and that their privilege is very conditioned.
Yeah, and during that time is where the word that starts with R skyrocketed against the Asian community. You know, to be honest, even here in Africa, I'm gonna admit, here in Africa,
they were treated like you're the ones who came with this. What caused the lockdown. Even here in Africa, they were being done like that. It was bad.
Yeah, so that was the time when they really truly realized. And imagine, so like Black America has been through that
daily for years. Them they only went through it in a period of time,
huge magnitude,
and it weighed heavily on them like that.
Yeah. So another thing she mentioned, she said that in Asian household, and I feel like we did an episode about this. Guys, look for it. We did for an episode about what Asians are told behind closed doors
by their parents.
Right. And this lady just confirmed that, because she says in a lot of Asian communities, they are trained from an early age to not come back home with a Black partner. He doesn't
not only partner, even friends. Black anything.
They are trained at an early age to not come back with a Black partner. And you see, the thing we say where she confirmed that they appropriate culture in order to rebel. So for their parents, it's not a problem if they appropriate the white culture, because if they come back home with an accent, they fit in better.
Yeah, it looks like they're cool.
Exactly. If they come back with a white fiance, they've made it in life. Exactly. If they come back with a half biracial child who's white,
they've done an even better service to society.
Bravo, Asians. Now we know what it feels like to have a high level achievement in your community,
Right. But anyway, when we had her video, right, it felt like it was a good book to read. Like we were having a good read.
Right.
Because everything she said was so on point, right?
And it made so much sense, guys. And we didn't play the whole video for you, so we'd encourage you, if you want to hear everything she has to say, go to her page. We have it on the screens here.
Right.
Do you know the lady she talked about, that celebrity, Asian American celebrity?
Yeah.
That lady, we watched her on Crazy Rich Asians. For those who have not watched the movie, you can go look it up and see her mannerism.
Right. Until she said it, it's when it clicked, because when you were watching Crazy Rich Asians, I don't know why I felt so drawn to her character specifically. She seemed so cool. Like everything she did, she wasn't like the other Asians.
Exactly. And remember, she was behaving like that. It's called Crazy Rich Asians. These people were wealthy, but she was the poorest in that. Even amongst the poor, amongst the rich,
yes, there must be a poor rich person,
and amongst the poor, there must be the
poorest richest person.
The poorest poor person and the richest poor person.
So she was the poorest rich Asian in that movie,
and she was very wealthy. They were wealthy, and you see, she was the poorest rich person in that group. Guys, I hope you're making sense. And she had that black accent, the group culture.
She had that Black culture and Black accent that the group would consider ghetto.
Right.
And back then, it didn't click like that. It really didn't. But I felt so drawn to her character because it felt so warm and familiar.
Right.
And right now, this woman talked about it. It's when I realized why it is so warm and familiar.
Yeah, I feel like she debunked it well. You know, this is honestly one of those videos I feel like I'm just thankful I came across, because like she has explained so much that I feel like she didn't leave anything out, you know.
Yeah.
And she did a 3-part series, so guys, we still encourage you to
go watch her video. And you know, guys, it being that she did this video 4 years ago, can you imagine the backlash she got from her community for doing this video 4 years ago?
And right now, look at Asian communities. We've also done an episode where Asians were banning those, you know, just that crop of them.
Those crop of
do
them.
away, how they support doing away with affirmative actions,
and
because
they you know, far-forward and they found out.
Right. And they do this because they believe black people are taking opportunities from them. I'm personally, I'm like, if you're that good, you have nothing to worry about. Nobody takes anything away
from a person who deserves it. If you're that good, it will find you.
Because how can a black person take opportunity from you when black people in America are the most oppressed?
They're the most oppressed in terms of systemic racism.
Exactly. So guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. Personally, I feel like my parting shot would be like, listen to such people when they come out to speak, because they really expose a lot of things that start making sense. Because right now Asians are exposed. A while back they were camouflaging and blending, because not so many of us knew what they were being told behind closed doors. Right now, she's not the only creator coming out and speaking about this. So right now, people know what to look for when an Asian acts a certain way. Specific things, you know.
Right. So guys, let us know what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you've not yet subscribed to our channel, and we'll see you on the next episode.